What is up, Seahawks fans of all ages? Welcome, one and all, to my final Seahawks mock draft before the 2023 NFL Draft. If you're watching this when it just came out, it is Tuesday, which means it is 2 days before the 2023 NFL Draft drops, and oh my gosh, the excitement, the anxiety is at its peak right now. So many different ways that this draft can go down. Your Seahawks have 2 first-rounders and 2 second-rounders. They have so much draft capital, and they could completely turn this team into a juggernaut if they can hit this draft in all the right ways. There's so much to be excited about. And we're going to go through, and I'm going to do my final mock draft of the offseason right here, right now. We're going to do trades in this mock draft, as I always do for my final mock draft. And before we go ahead and get started, I am going to be live for the first day of the 2023 NFL Draft. I'm not going to do day 2 and day 3 just because I have other things that I need to be taken care of on those days. But I will be around and live streaming for the first day of the draft. So feel free to stop by if you guys want to watch the draft together and share in our elation and our frustration. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. We are going to do a full mock draft, so all 7 rounds, and there will be trades in this mock draft. So we will go ahead and get started. We're going to be using Walk the Mock today. Unfortunately, I can only trade picks with Walk the Mock. It's not like PFF where I can trade players as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So, first up, we're going to go ahead and skip to my pick at 5. I don't see a situation where I'm comfortable trading up. I think the draft will fall to us the way that we want it to. So we'll skip to our pick. And this is pretty standard. Kind of what a lot of us are expecting with the way that the first 4 picks are going to fall. Bryce Young to the Panthers, C.J. Stroud to the Texans, Will Anderson Jr., much to our dismay, to the Cardinals, and Anthony Richardson to the Colts, which means we have 3 guys that I'm particularly interested in. I am not interested in Will Levis here at 3. I'm not as high on Will Levis as some other guys. I feel like he's more of a mid first round pick at best. I feel like he just, something's irked me, and it's not just the fact that he puts mayonnaise in his coffee, although I think that is an affront to God by itself. I just think that there are better ways we can go with this pick. So I think there's 3 picks here that make a lot of sense, starting with Jalen Carter. If you throw out the off-field issues, which I know you can't throw those out entirely, he was the most talented player in the entire draft, or one of the most amazing defensive players coming into this draft. I think Will Anderson edges him out a little bit. Yes, he had a terrible pro day. Yes, he has the off-field issues, but I feel like this is the perfect position for him to go, the perfect place for him to go to really get the support that he needs, and for him to be an absolute monster. Because when he was on the field, when he was having at it, he was nigh unblockable for most teams. Does have his concerns. His production is a little bit low, but with that stacked Georgia line, I don't worry about his production issues a whole heck of a lot. Eats double teams for breakfast, and this team needs to get better on the defensive line. So if there is a player that I am comfortable taking a swing on here at 5, Jalen Carter is it. Could also see arguments for Tyree Wilson, although I feel like he's more of a fit in a 4-3 and not a 3-4. He's very much like a Carlos Dunlap type player, Montez Sweat type player. He has long-ass arms, and his athleticism is really nice. Very intriguing pick, but I do think that Jalen Carter is better in this instance. Similar with Christian Gonzalez. I think he's corner 1 in this draft. He's my corner 1 in this draft at the very least. Super fluid mover, absolute ball hawk, has great size for the position. Could be a fantastic pickup, although corner is less of a need, I think, than the interior of this defensive line. And plus the defensive tackle and defensive line talent in this draft really falls off pretty quickly. So I am going to use pick 5. We are going to take Jalen Carter. I'm not going to trade up for this one. Let's just do a quick look at how it went down. So Christian Gonzalez went after to the Lions. Makes sense. They need wide or corner help after they traded Jeff Okudah. Will Levis to the Raiders to develop behind 49ers legend Jimmy G. Tyree Wilson, Lucas Van Ness. I think this is a little high for Lucas Van Ness. Devon Witherspoon at 10 makes sense. Definitely need offensive line help for the Titans, so Skoronski makes sense. JSN off the board. Jalen Hyatt. This is very high for Jalen Hyatt, but the Packers are not picking at 13 because of the Aaron Rodgers trade. Jordan Addison. A couple of wide receivers going higher than I thought, but Paris Johnson, Joey Porter, Brian Branch, Nolan Smith, Miles Murphy. Lots of edge and corner talent and wide receiver talent off the board. So there's a couple options here. So there's quite a few players here that I would be very comfortable taking. I like Bijan Robinson a lot. He is a stud offensive player in this draft. I'm definitely a fan. He is a bruiser. I feel like he is the type of change of pace back. But again, running backs in the first round after you just spent a second round pick on K9, I don't think I can do it. Broderick Jones potentially could move to guard, but I think he'll more stay with tackle. Quentin Johnston is an interesting pick. Kalijah Cansey and Brian Brezzi are available, as is Dalton Kincaid and Michael Mayer, as well as Zay Flowers. I kind of feel comfortable with the trade back here, and I think that's what we're going to end up doing. So the trade that I have picked out is we are going to trade back with the Kansas City Chiefs to pick 31. So they get pick 20, we get pick 31, as well as their second round pick, which is pick 63. So it's basically trading pick 20 for pick 31 and pick 63. I think that's a pretty solid get. So we'll go ahead and pull the trigger on that. And the Chiefs, I guess, not feeling Isaiah Pacheco as their RB1, takes Bijan Robinson. And I'm fine with that. So we'll go ahead and skip to our pick. Broderick Jones gone. Johnson, Banks, Cansey, Flowers. Jack Campbell goes in the first round. He's the first linebacker off the board. Very intriguing. Michael Mayer's gone. Clark Phillips gone. Keanu Benton in the first round. I'm not saying that it's not impossible, but I think that's a little bit too high on Benton. And FAU going to the Philadelphia Eagles. So let's take stock of who's available. Dalton Kincaid, very interesting tight end option. I think he's the best pass catching tight end in this draft for sure. Some are even saying Travis Kelce type upside. I'm not going that far. Cyrus Torrence an option. Darnell Washington's an option. Will McDonald, Mazzie Smith, Anton Harrison. Interior offensive line is an option. Could spend a first-round pick on a center. It's definitely an opportunity because I don't think John Michael Schmitz is making it past the Cardinals at 34. Nose tackle, also an option. Benson went really high. Mazzie Smith is still available, but you went Jalen Carter to start. Linebacker, the best linebacker in the draft is still available right now in Trenton Simpson. I feel like you can get either Trenton Simpson or Drew Sanders at 37, though. But I don't think you'll be able to get John Michael Schmitz at pick 37. Lots of intriguing options. Wide receiver also pretty barren as the things stand right now. Josh Downs available. I don't think he's worth a first-round pick, though. Some other intriguing options. Again, Dalton Kincaid could be really good. But I think I'm going to go with the guy that I've been banging the gavel for this entire offseason. That is John Michael Schmitz at pick 31. Solidified that center position for a while. All right, so moving ahead, we'll skip to my pick. We'll see what falls. Darnell Wright, Ade, Keely Ringo, DJ Turner, and DeJuan Jones. So all the top tackles are now off the board, it appears. The top 5 at least. Let's take a look at the options. Linebacker available. Mazzie Smith is still available here. I'm not going to take Brezzi just because Jalen Carter and him are very similar, I think. Wide receiver, also an option. Josh Downs still available. Cedric Tillman, I'm kind of getting a little more high on. Oh, edge rushers. Will McDonald, also pretty fantastic, but I feel like we're already pretty set at that edge spot, and I feel like you can get some pretty good value here going into late day 2, maybe day 3 of the draft as well. But I think you need a long-term answer at linebacker. Right now, we just don't have it. Jordan Brooks is going into year 4 of his deal. They need to choose to exercise his 5th-year option by May 1st. If they don't, then this will be his last year as a Seahawk. Bobby Wagner's on a 1-year deal. Devin Bush is on a 1-year deal. I feel like you need to make a long-term investment into this position, and that is why I am going to go with Drew Sanders, linebacker out of Arkansas. Great in coverage, was a pass rusher at Alabama, so he has that experience. This is his first season at off-ball linebacker, and he played fantastic. Again, great in coverage. Needs to improve as a tackler, but I feel like this is a pretty solid get here at pick 37. So we'll go ahead and keep trudging along. So no trade here, no. Bruzzy goes to the Panthers, BJ Ojolari to the Saints. Dalton Kincaid goes to the Pack. Trenton Simpson to the Jets, Tooley. I could see the Lions potentially going with another interior player, and there's a guy I really want to come up here and get that is still available. So I am going to get in talks with the Washington Commanders to trade up 4 spots. So I'll give them a little something extra because you usually have to sweeten it since we're moving up a little bit. So to move up 4 spots, we are going to trade we're going to give them our second round pick, as well as our 4th rounder, to move up and get Mr. Mazi Smith, nose tackle out of Michigan. Look, Al Woods got cut. Brian Monet might not even play a single snap this season. So you really need to get better. If you're truly committing to the 3-4, you need a stud nose tackle, and I think Mazi Smith has every ability to do that. So I'm very much in favor of this selection. Really shoring up the front 7 here with 3 of our top 4 picks. And we will go ahead and keep on going. Will McDonald, Keon White also gone. Steve Avila gone. Cody Mock and Josh Downs. Josh Downs finally goes off the board. Not really feeling nose tackle. Not really feeling linebacker. Some decent options off the edge here. Also some good wide receiver talent as well. I'm really warming up to the idea of Marvin Mims here, either in the late 2nd or early 3rd. I feel like he is really turning heads in a lot of ways. Could be fantastic out of the slot this season. I am going to take him over Cedric Tillman in this case. So Marvin Mims, wide receiver from Oklahoma. I think will be a fantastic complement to DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. And we will go ahead and continue on. We'll see who is there at 20 when we pick again, or at pick 83. Okay, so we've addressed nose tackle. We've got a stud defensive tackle. We've addressed center, linebacker, and wide receiver. Let's kind of take stock of who's the best player available right now. Sidney Brown, very intriguing option. I think he is my 2nd best safety in this draft. Total bruiser, just like his brother. Very, very, very great ball hawk. I feel like he would be a fantastic option. Running back, also a very important need. And I feel like, even though this might be a little bit early, I feel like you need a power back, a change of pace back aside from Kenneth Walker, especially since you only have Kenneth Walker and DJ Dallas as your running backs on the roster. I think we traded away our 4th round pick to move up and get Mazi. So I feel like this has to be a running back because I really like Roschon Johnson out of Texas. He was Bijan Robinson's backup, and he reminds me so much of Chris Carson in all the good ways. He is just a bruiser of a back. He's Chris Carson without the fumbling problems. He's one of the... if I'm not worried about him fumbling the ball, like, at all. I think he has, like, 1 fumble in, like, 600 or like 300 plus career carries, something crazy like that. So we're going to go Roschon Johnson, the running back out of Texas. And we'll go ahead and skip to our next pick, which again isn't until the 5th round because we traded away our 4th to go up and get Mazi Smith, which I still think was a fantastic pickup. 6 picks in the top 100. All of them I think are not reaches at all. I think they're fantastic gets. So we're available. So now we are here. Jacorian Bennett. Andrew Voorhees also a potential option. We could go and address that guard spot just because there are definitely some needs there. Phil Haynes and Damian Lewis are set to be your starters, but you don't really have much depth, if any depth, behind them at this point. So I think spending on a guard could definitely be an option. Andrew Voorhees, of course, unfortunately tore his ACL at the Combine, so he is probably going to miss his entire almost all of his rookie season. So, not really an option here to improve you right now. Could be a very good hedge for next year, especially with Phil Haynes and Damian Lewis. Honestly, screw it. I think Andrew Voorhees, even with the torn ACL, I think this is a pretty solid spot for him to go. Yeah, I'm going to take Andrew Voorhees here in the 5th round. I know it says tackle, but he's going to play guard. Definitely, this is a pick for the future for sure, but I think Andrew Voorhees is such a value pick here, even with the torn ACL. I think he's going to be a great starter for us in the future. Okay, so Aiden O'Connell and Nick Saldiveri go. With the way that Seattle has set up their stuff, I feel like they do need to go and make some improvements to the secondary. They did let Ryan Neal go, so safety, depth, definitely an option. I feel like it would be actually pretty good to take Kobe Bryant, move him to the outside, and get a true nickel to start behind Julian Love. And I really like Jacorian Bennett. He had a fantastic Senior Bowl. I forget if he went to the Combine or not, but I think that he would be a great slot with the ability to move outside if necessary, but a good depth piece for this corner room, which is, I realized, a little bit paper thin. So Jacorian Bennett is your selection here with our 2nd, 5th round pick. So we'll go ahead and skip ahead. So far we've spent 8 picks. 4 on defense, 4 on offense. We've gotten a starting center, a potential future starting guard, a running back, and a wide receiver. We've spent 2 picks on the D-line, a pick on linebacker and corner. Take a look at some of the options here. Jake Haener, Clayton Tune available here in the 5th round. Look, I am not going to... I've of the opinion that if you're not going to take a quarterback... with pick 5, I don't think you should bother taking a quarterback at all in this draft. I don't think any of them are better than Drew Lock at this point. And you've already paid Drew Lock. You're already paying him. I don't think if you're trying to compete this year, I think there are better ways that you could spend a late round pick than on a quarterback. So I'm not going to go quarterback in this case. Safety still potentially in need. But I could also see an argument for edge rusher. Jose Ramirez and Robert Beal are very intriguing options. Let's take a look at who else is available for pass rushers. I think on my list right now, I think Jose Ramirez would probably be the best pass rusher on here. I feel like Robert Beal has more of the size that you're looking for. Coming out of that Georgia program, I feel like you can get him a little bit later, though. As far as other top picks, Bryce Ford Wheaton, definitely an interesting option. You might almost need to take 2 running backs at this point just because we're so short. Tight end doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. Jared Clark, I'm a fan of Jared Clark on day 3, but we already took Mazi Smith, so I'm less inclined to take him. Although, I think what I am going to do... defensive line doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense here, so I think I'm going to take a look At running back, nobody really intrigues me here. Nobody at safety really intrigues me, so I think we're just going to try and go... Actually, I take that back. Jordan Howden has been a name that has been floated to me quite a bit, actually. Very much a fan of his tape that I have had the opportunity to watch. It hasn't been much. Also, the fantastic fact that it looks like Seattle likes him because they've brought him in for a top 30 visit in the past. So I think Jordan Howden, fantastic pickup here in the 6th round. We'll go ahead and skip to our final pick in the 7th round. And last but not least, I am going to reinforce the defensive line one last time with another pass rusher, maybe with another interior, like more of a 3-tech, more of like a Draymond Jones type. And I'm trying to see if I can find one that I really was a fan of. Incoom is a little small for me. Dante Stills doesn't really intrigue me, but again, it's the 7th round. So I'm less concerned about that. I'm more concerned about making sure that I'm taking best player I can. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pass rusher here just to reinforce. There are some concerns about both Tyreek Smith and Alton Robinson's health. I think your top 3 are pretty set, with Darrell Taylor and Uchenna Nwosu being your starters, with Boye Mafe backing them up, but they need somebody else, and there are some serious injury concerns with the bottom 2 after that. So I'm going to go and take Tavius Robinson, the edge rusher out of Ole Miss, to help reinforce that front 7. Been definitely a name that I've heard a lot more of. Had a pretty decent pro day. I like the measurables for him as more of like a bigger outside linebacker in this 3-4 defense. So I think a pretty solid pickup. We'll go ahead and skip to the end now and do our quick draft recap. Great mock, I agree. I absolutely agree. So to recap, we selected Jalen Carter with our 5th pick with pick 20. We traded that to the Kansas City Chiefs for pick 31 and pick 63. We used pick 31 to select John Michael Schmitz, the center out of Minnesota, to really shore up the interior of that line for a long time. Took Drew Sanders to reinforce that linebacking core, give us an option after this season for a really great off-ball linebacker who's great in coverage, has great measurables. Mazi Smith reinforcing, just get a big man on the interior of that defensive line as a run stuffer with pass rush upside. Marvin Mims, a potentially great wide receiver 3 for this team out of Oklahoma, could fit really well as a slot receiver. Roschon Johnson in the 3rd round might be a little bit high, but I took him because he is the change of pace back that we really need. Just absolute Chris Carson without the health issues, without the fumble issues. Love it. Andrew Voorhees was available here in the 5th round, which was such a steal. I know he tore his ACL. I know he's going to miss basically his entire rookie season. But this is a pick for the future right here. If he's available in the 5th round, I feel like he got to go for it just because he has such a high upside, was such a game changer at USC. Was arguably the second or third best guard in this draft class before he tore his ACL. Jacorian Bennett and Jordan Howden, just both some solid moves to shore up our backfield just because our depth is a little bit suspicious right now in the backfield, especially with with Ryan Neal leaving. I think Jordan Howden is a good hedge for him. And then just wrapping up with a solid edge rusher in Tavius Robinson to play off that outside linebacker position for Seattle. So again, fantastic draft. Thank you guys once again so much for watching. If you like the video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you like the content and you want to see more of it, hit the bell icon to be notified whenever I post. And remember, we are going to be doing a live stream of day 1 of the NFL draft from pick 1 to pick 31. So if you want to stop by, chat about the draft, just shoot the shit, I'm all here for it. Be sure to stop by. Would love to see you guys stop by. And with that, that's going to wrap up our video for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, go Hawks.